Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Mage the Ascension 20th anniversary rules by Onyx Path Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. Our World of Darkness is intended for adults. Listeners should pay close attention to all listed content warnings. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your storyteller. Thank you for joining us again, another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your storyteller this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are back with another episode of the Ascension of Babylon, our Mage, the Ascension Chronicle on the Old Ways Podcast. We want to thank you for listening, and especially a huge thank you to those of you who are supporting us on Patreon. So you can do so at patreon.com/the Old Ways Podcast, and you can potentially sprinkle in a little love or perhaps a little hate for some of these wonderful awakened souls. Check us out on YouTube. Just type in the Old Ways Podcast. You'll find us, hit subscribe, and get access to all sorts of amazing video content. And now I'm going to begin with player introductions, which happened to my right.
Hi, I'm Allie, and I play Kayleigh Hannah Godfrey.
Indeed you do. And to Kayleigh's right.
This is Lecco playing Dante Maxim Vargas Bailey, who has purchased his freedom through indentured servitude and is feeling fan-fucking-tastic about it.
Yeah, I think there's a moral to that story at some point, but we'll get there, I promise, at the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Oliver Devereaux, and I get to do interviews today, which sounds just scintillating.
Yes, certainly you enjoy the Greek. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Adam Harrison. And did you know that they put these tattoos on with needles?
Shocking, I know. With a fresh bandage on your chest, you are, I guess, walking around Las Vegas or the outer area trying to not scratch yourself. As soon you will be consumed by the itchies. So we're going to raise the curtain tonight. Still yet September 26th, but this time now in the evening. Oliver, you have an opportunity here to test, essentially, to join what you, or at least you think it's an entrance exam, for House Titleist. You're not terribly familiar with their history, but they have supplied you with a rather creative mathematical problem, one of which being creative that it's in Greek. And two, the scroll seems pretty thick. And so I wonder what you might utilize to attempt to demystify this numerical puzzle.
That is a good question. I'm assuming at some point they want me to try to use my finger waving magic. But I am not certain I have anything that would work. So, how much of the questions are actually in Greek?
Oh, no. The questions are reasonably enough in English. It's really just one question. It's a question about deciphering the true value of this number. And they're giving you a series of mathematical computations, which are all in a single line to complete. It's just that the numbers and glyphs and mathematical formulae that they're using are in the original Greek.
Oh, I see. Well, that is no bueno.
But you're good with puzzles, and so you could
Right.
at least potentially take a stab at some things.
Yeah, I'll try that. See if I can cipher out something.
Okay. So if memory serves correctly, Oliver has a couple of merits, right? That would assist him in such a thing.
The only thing I have that would help me with this would be my lightning calculator merit.
Okay. So lightning calculator does what for you?
Merit allows you to reduce the difficulties of math and calculation-based rolls by 2.
Awesome. Okay, so that gives us the potential time frame it could take you. Now the question is you'll need to make roughly a wits enigma roll. I'll say that you have a threshold of 2, so you have to have at least 2 successes. I will remind you, the player, that you can spend willpower for successes before you roll. You can spend a point of willpower to do so, which would help. It'll also prevent you from botching, which is nice.
I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spend a point of willpower.
Okay, so I'm still going to say that the threshold for success is 2, but I will bring the difficulty of the total roll with Lightning Calculator down to 6 rather than 5. In this instance, I'm only going to give you 1 off the target number because you're effectively doing math in a different language.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to spend that willpower. I'm going to play it. I'm going to raw dog it.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the right analogy for that, but okay.
It is to me. 3 successes.
Okay. You begin the computations through this scroll. As you do so, you are accosted on all sides by voices. Christabel's voice, who's telling you to hurry up, move faster. The information's needed. You're late. And it throws you off your game a little bit. Not so much that it prevents you from completing it, but it goes from being sort of an interesting question, a puzzle that you find compelling, to a pressure cooker sort of shot clock moment where you have to figure it all out. And you take the pen that you were given and you quickly whip through this rolled paper scroll to get the answer. And when you finish, a bell goes off. And suddenly he's standing in front of you. Done?
All finished.
About time. He takes the scroll. And you see him just go through it and wind it all back out onto the floor. House Titleist has a very specific role within the Order of Hermes. We are its focused will. We keep the rest of the houses in order. We help plan for the worst. We're strategists. That strategy can be applied many different ways. We expect the utmost from any candidate. He stands to his full height, and Christabel's not very tall. He's maybe 5'11", and he gestures towards the door. Good enough for now. We'll advise Mr. Crescent if we're going to seek to pursue your services.
Well, I'm just pins and needles going to be waiting.
You do understand the auspicious nature of being allowed into the house.
Oh, absolutely.
We take very few recruits.
Like I said, pins and needles.
You take your exit. When you get outside into the hall, Crescent is waiting with food? Wine? Please eat.
Well, absolutely. What an asshole that guy is.
You see him sort of carefully get around you and shut the doors. I wouldn't tempt Christabel. He's particular when it comes to opinions, and the House Titleist is known to be, opinionated.
Well, sure, they have a long and august history. Just ask them.
You didn't get near the circle, right?
No.
Good. It would have been dangerous. The Order of Hermes has very specific rules when it comes to challenges, and House Titleist is known to be, we'll just say, very challenge-friendly. They like poking the bear. They like proving that they're right. Whether they are or not is subjective, but they definitely enjoy it. But please, eat. The clock behind you chimes. It chimes twice, and you realize it's 2 p.m.
Wow. Take that long? I didn't realize that.
Challenges take longer than people normally expect, even those of us who have been around the block a few times. Time works differently in here. It's a conduit space for several houses to do what's being done today, the interview process.
Well, I guess I better eat up because I have more interviews, I guess.
2, yes. House Flambeau, which will be sort of an interesting interview. And then House Fortuna.
Well, I can't wait.
He sits down next to you and pours himself a glass of wine. House Flambeau is rather interesting. They're evokers, practitioners of ancient arts that compel the sphere of forces into very specific things. Many people might call them war mages.
Interesting. I don't know if that would exactly suit me, but, you never know.
No, we don't. And you don't know either. And because of the support they choose to give the library, we always advise when a recruit is available. Now, many of the houses of Hermes could have been here, but only 3 replied. Don't take that personally, Oliver. That's not the way it is. They could be full up on their recruits and training and going through their initiation phases. So it's not personal.
It still stings a little bit.
Well, there are more than a dozen houses, so. And I don't even have contact with all of them. So, what you might not be aware of is our world's gone through some traumatic events, mystically speaking. There have been events in the Umbra. Not sure you're familiar with that term, but there is a space beyond the physical space. You might call it the spirit realm. Other more learned folks might call it the Umbra, which has itself many levels and variations. But there was a war, an Ascension war. And that war, there were losses on both sides. Between the Order of Reason, the Technocratic Union, and the Council of Mystic Traditions, or Tradition Mages like myself. We fought a war for years, decades. The goal was to control what consensual reality meant. It didn't work out very well for us.
So we lost?
In effect, although I don't know that they won, I'm not sure that makes sense. They don't necessarily have the control over what they call consensus. They were hoping to win. They had everything lined up to win. And then it just didn't happen. We war less now, though. The songs are not as loud. The swords are not as sharp anymore. Mostly because of all the losses on either side, many of which were precipitated by a storm that took place in that umbral space. The storm blocked us from many of our most potent mages to fight in the war, and everything here was fought on the ground level with people learning as they went. It was desperate and difficult, and both sides took many losses, and now we're concentrating on just trying to figure out what life means, because the war has taken its toll. That is why House Titleist is here. The numbers have run very thin, and Cristobal is hoping that he can find a recruit, because their type of initiation is very thorough, and it's also very difficult. It doesn't mean that it isn't rewarding. But...
And that would be why House Flambeau was interested, because if they're war wizards, then that would explain why they have less numbers after the war.
Indeed, some of their most powerful hermetics were caught in a mystical location called the Doorstep during the battle. It's hard to explain, but just imagine it like Oz. A big castle. All sorts of different rooms, libraries, laboratories. And there was a climactic battle between the Technocratic Union and many mages there. And many were lost, unfortunately. And so yes, they're trying to recuperate their numbers. Likely, not in the same way, but in similar ways when you meet with House Fortuna, this being a city that is run by numbers, that's likely why you'll be investigated. Now, eat up. And the next process will begin soon enough. I will leave you there, Oliver. So Kayleigh, after the experience, and that's all I'm going to say, the experience in the offices, what are you doing when you get back to your apartment, and what are you doing for the balance of the day?
Well, so during the previous Sunday, right, the father gave me his card that if there was anything that I wanted to talk about that was relationship related or faith related, that I could call and come visit.
Indeed.
So I think, especially after the events from last night, catching a skip using forces I don't really understand, I think it's worth to go talk to the father. So I'll give the church a call.
Okay, you call the church. Yes. You hear the woman. You hear a woman answer the phone. Guardian Angel Cathedral.
Hi, is the father in today?
Yes, of course. Is there something you need?
I was hoping to talk to him today if he has time.
Certainly. We have some time here about 2:00.
Okay, I'll stop by then. You can let him know to expect Kayleigh Godfrey.
Oh, of course. It'll be good to see you.
I'll see you soon. And I'll hang up the phone. Because it's like, I'm not sure I remember who this person is. But, people attend church.
You know how church secretaries are. They know everybody.
Right.
So you head down to the church.
In the early afternoon.
Right, in the early afternoon. It's mostly quiet. It's mostly probably just a few parishioners. You might have, a guy who's probably had a few, who's sitting in a back pew, not actually visiting the church, but more sleeping it off. That probably happens here.
It's a big church. That's not surprising. And I will make my way to where the father's office is, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, he's going to have his own secretary and like an old sort of like an outer office.
Yeah, that's not in the church proper.
Okay, so you get to Father Price's office.
Afternoon, Father.
Well, hello, Miss Godfrey. I heard that you were coming by. Please take a seat. He gestures to one of the chairs in his offices and sort of slowly but yet inexorably moves behind his enormous desk, pulls his chair out, sits down. It's a big desk. Many things on it. Yes. It's the Cadillac of desks.
Yes. He has spent many tithings investing in this desk.
Really, the church has.
So you said that I could come talk to you anytime.
I did. And so you're here. What do we need to talk about?
You probably know. I've been coming to church for the sake of my family and the sake of Titus's family more than wanting to be here.
Why don't you want to be here?
Because I haven't had faith for a long time. Not really.
What happened to your what happened to your faith?
The older I've gotten, the more that I see for what feels like reality, that faith is blinded hope to everything that's happening in the world.
We have a difference of opinion there, but that's okay. I think it's a point that you could work on your own faith with. The world in totality is always turning. There are always things happening in the world, some negative, some positive. If you let it consume you, of course you won't be able to see or hear the voice, because you've been cluttered yourself with all of the garbage.
But I know I'm doing good work. The work that I do.
Are you?
Yes.
What's good? Define it for me.
Obviously, good is something positive. It is providing actions or words or expressions of things in general that bring positivity to a person, a cause, or a situation.
And you believe that by collecting people who've skipped on bail, you believe that's good?
Yes, because it means that they are brought back into the justice system to face what is supposed to be appropriate judgment.
And you have faith in the justice system?
More faith than I do in God right now.
Well, the justice system will not be waiting for you on the day of judgment. It's a simple, man-made system of laws. Far different from the laws that God shares with us. It's important that you, when you bring something like this to me, that I challenge you on it to make you think. You believe you're doing good work, and maybe you are. But I don't think that that work should keep you from feeling like your faith is real.
Well, so the sermon that you gave on Sunday, that was a nice change of venue from what you normally talk about.
Mm-hmm. Who was I talking to?
The congregation. That's who you're always talking to.
Maybe I was talking to someone in the room who needed to hear something specific.
I'm going to look at him kind of incredulous. There's no way that you were talking about one person, that you were talking to one person in the entirety of the room, in the entirety of our faith.
No way?
No.
Jesus did it countless times. He singled specific people out rather than speaking to the whole of the body of church. He did so to prove a point, to make sure that those people heard the message. And it's evidenced by you being here today. You heard the message. That's good.
That's not the only reason I'm here.
What's the other reason you're here?
So I got into some trouble. More so than usual. I went after someone dangerous without, or someone who I didn't think was dangerous, but ended up being dangerous without the normal help I would have.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up hurt. And I don't look hurt.
You don't.
No, I was shot and I was laying on the floor. And there was a shake and a light, and the person that I was after didn't exist anymore. He was a pile of ashes on the ground. And then someone was talking to me, and I was healed. I could get up, I could move. Any trace of what had happened was gone. And I went to bed, and I woke up, and the person who I was supposed to bring in turned himself in. He wasn't a pile of ashes anymore.
Fascinating. Las Vegas is filled with stories similar to this. Perhaps a night of drinking, some psychedelics. There's that new drug now out there, Vital, whatever it is.
It's not generally the sort of thing I partake in, Father. It hinders my ability to do my job.
Yes. Yes, and as I get more acquainted with you, Miss Godfrey, I have a feeling that the job is what you're compelled to do.
It gives me more purpose than anything else has in my life.
Maybe you're not listening to the right voices.
Well, then who should I be listening to?
I think you've already heard them, haven't you?
Yeah, but I don't like that voice.
Why? Because it suggests that maybe you do things differently?
That's the thing. It doesn't suggest that I do anything different. It supposedly, if all of this is true and I haven't had some kind of
Psychotic episode.
or just extreme mental break or something from family history that I don't know about, I ask questions and I get no answers.
Sounds like prayer.
But it's not prayer when when a voice answers you back, telling you that the answers are too complicated for me to understand.
I think that all depends on who's praying. I had your problem once. Long ago. I can see it in you. He sort of leans over the desk a little bit. He takes his glasses off and sets them on the desk. You're hearing a voice. You're not getting the answers that you want. Perhaps you're asking the wrong questions. But the voice, that voice, is a part of one voice, which the whole of humanity shares. I know, because I heard that voice too, years ago.
And it led you back to church. It led you back to faith.
Certainly. I found my purpose through that voice. I let go of the things that I was doing. I entered a deeper, more fulfilling walk with that voice. I harmonized. That is what you need to do. Find a way. And if you're needing assistance, I'm certain that I can assist you in some way. We're all part of that chorus, in one way or the other. I'm going to leave it there. So, Adam, you are walking I guess, back to Echo Park, or are you walking around Vegas after your tattoo?
Adam still has his beat up old Buick, but I think he's gonna walk around Vegas for a little while. Get some air before work. Park somewhere between and walk to work.
Okay. Yeah. So getting back to work at Life on Mars is getting back into the rhythm of your, quote, normal life. Mundania, but it's also the way you earn money.
Moneydania. But he is still using what he has learned so far or what he's read so far to try to, as he's looking at the customers and interacting with people through his shift this evening.
Okay. Yes, I mean, Salvatore's book is full of just basic information, which is, you know, a lot of information, which is like, you have to figure out how you work. And when you want to utilize that extra effort and energy that's inside of you, you have to figure out how those things work for you. You get a lot of almost self-help-ish style with like a lot of sarcasm and a handful of like, you know, cigarette butts, basically.
It's all quite droll.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. He has very specific opinions. All of the traditions that he outlines, he has opinions on. And, you know, he talks through some of the lower fundamentals of like how will workers seem to categorize what they do. Right? So it does give you the tiniest of vestiges of sort of what some spheres are and what traditions make up the sort of tradition side of the
very loosest and most basic versions of the spheres and the traditions, essentially.
Oh yeah, and basically what you see, the rundown Salvatore gives you is like 70% of the traditions he either doesn't like or is scared of.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, that's, you know, and that's, to be fair, I probably should be too. But since there's a brief descriptions of some of these, and probably not all of them, but some of these spheres that he's encountered, with that in mind, Adam is gonna start trying to. Well, he's curious. What can he do? He has no idea, and right now he has no teacher. So he's kind of a monkey with a handgun. So he's going to, as he's on his shift, he's going to try to feel, or not try to feel, but to see if anything feels different, and if anything does feel different, investigate it. The world is a different place, so he has to figure out what these new senses mean.
So I think given the spheres that Adam has access to, I think the one that is probably the most useful where you work is probably correspondence, just because of the spatial like perception of where people are, what they're doing, that sort of thing.
I know exactly where everyone is in the room, how far apart they are from one another.
Yeah. Well, and like you have the ability when you do that to seemingly track time. And so you can track how long it takes people to move around the space.
How long they've been in certain areas.
But if he is trying to be more perceptive of this sort of thing, what sort of thing would he use to focus that, hone that sense in?
You know what? One of the things that he's always found has sharpened his senses the most is pain, oddly enough, but he's been through more than enough of it in prison and what. So he's going to start with the using the pain that is radiating out from his chest, that sunburn pain coming from the tattoo, and indeed the tattoo itself. He kind of used it as a roadmap for this conduits.
Okay, that sounds good. Why don't you give me an Arte roll then?
Oh, I would love to. One success, sir.
Okay, yeah, one success. You managed to get I guess for probably a good 20 minutes or so, you begin sort of a tracking program in your head. You get a little correspondence magic and a little time magic, and it helps you track how long it takes, like, the servers to deliver food, or for this person here to, like, need to go to the bathroom.
As he's doing it, he's basically tailoring what he's doing to, okay, so that's the average time for that. That's the average time for that. Now he's picking out anomalies.
Yeah.
People who are going to cause trouble. Like, no, wait. Okay, this stands out like a sore thumb now. This guy over here is not acting like everyone else for so far over the last 2 hours has acted. That's very weird. That kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's playing with it throughout his day. He's not focusing on any one thing, but he's still trying also to do his job so he doesn't get fired, because he needs to make some money.
Yeah, you got to get more tattoos. Okay, we'll have you there working at Life on Mars. Dante will pick up with you. It gets sort of towards the late afternoon and evening hours, about phone arrival time.
Sure.
Essentially, someone wearing an Amazon vest walks up to the apartment door and,
I get it. I go open the door.
hi, Mr. Vargas Bailey.
That'd be me.
Sign.
I sign it and look up at this person.
They have an Amazon bag with them.
Nice. You guys got here quick.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Here you go.
Right. Am I supposed to tip you or something? Here, take this. I give him a 50.
Oh, I can't really take a tip.
Sure you can. I shut the door.
Oh, well, whatever. They move along.
That felt great. That felt really good to do.
So inside the bag, there are 4 distinct things. One of them is a phone box. It's a box where this device is. It's a Samsung, which is nice. There's also a Samsung Gear watch that goes with it, and then Beats by Dre wireless earbuds.
I squeal a little bit when I pull this out, because I immediately pitch my other ones in the garbage can.
And then the other thing that comes with it is an OtterBox. Keep the phone safe and secure.
I stand in the kitchen and kind of just packaging kind of everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know how all this stuff I know how a phone works, but I just kind of power it on and make sure it's charged and plug it in, and then I just kind of wait while I take out my ancient iPod and start trying to figure out how I'm gonna get my music back over.
The phone rings after about 10 minutes.
Oh, I hit the earbud because I already had him in. Hello.
Dante.
Hey. Oh, you sound great.
Yeah. Absolutely. Did you get everything plugged in?
I think so. Yeah, everything seems to be working.
Good. Okay, I've got your number here, and I'm going to forward it on to Stanley. He's the one that does all of our lab work. And so he'll message you with a time to come by the lab.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check out some of the fitness equipment that we have at the lab there, and then he'll draw blood and do some basic tests.
Sounds great.
Good. Okay. Enjoy the watch. Enjoy everything else. And we'll be in touch, okay?
Sure. When should I expect to hear anything about the move?
Oh yeah. I've got it all handled. So on the 28th, we're going to be moving you over.
Run over to the calendar and start scribbling with a marker.
So we'll send a van to have all those things, all the things at the current place packed up. There'll be an entire team of movers that will help that happen. And then realistically, all you need to do is just work on transportation to the new place, and we should be good and golden.
All right. Yeah, and this is 5 p.m. right for the lab.
Yep.
All right. Well, I will head there right away. Hey, look, I know I keep saying it, but I really do appreciate this. This is a good day.
It is. Really, really is.
All right, I'm gonna go get stabbed.
You do that. She hangs up. It feels weird, like shutting the call off from the earbud. It's just...
All right, that's something I'll have to ask Calliope to do this shit for me. I figure out how I'm gonna rig this like to myself and grab a bottle of water out the fridge. And where is the lab?
It's actually downtown. It's not too far from the strip.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to get a feel for the new stuff, and I'll do some dangerous pedestrian phone scrolling, I guess. I will engage with my new toy for a while I make my way to the lab.
It's fabulous. The lab is, well, it's just off the strip, and it seems relatively sort of mid-level commercial property. It's attached to a CVS, but there's also like the commercial side of the building. So you sort of go around the CVS, you dodge some people who probably you want nothing to do with because they lurk around the CVS.
Mm.
And yeah, you head upstairs, and there's a little logo, right? It's All-Star Labs, and it's on the door. There's a ring of stars, and there's a big A, and it says, lab work done between these hours and these hours, and one of the slots is from basically 4 to 7.
Okay. I stow everything and check my hair. Go in.
You go in, there's a receptionist behind the desk. There is a exceedingly sterile environment in here. Like, it smells clean.
Wrinkle my nose.
There's a bit of a pulse for just a moment in the air. It could be music, maybe. But you sort of both see it and feel it. And the woman behind the desk stands up, and she says, "Dante?
You know my name."
I'm Kit. She reaches over the desk to shake your hand.
Yeah, I give her a nice warm shake. Hey, nice to meet you.
I work with Dr. Halliburton here. Stanley, as everybody calls him, right? Don't call him doctor. He is a doctor, though. But Stanley's going to have you all taken care of, so don't worry about that. We'll just need some a little bit of information here. So if you just walk through the form and then get it back to me, we'll be started after that.
Sure thing.
You are the only person in here.
So I can basically choose where there's... I'm sure there's like way too many places to sit, though, right? I will take the seat closest to Kit.
Okay. You take the seat closest to Kit. You hear her sort of humming in the background as you work on your paperwork. She's probably humming a Taylor Swift song or something like that. She seems to be, I guess, half doing her job and half like paying attention to what's going on screen. But it seems to work. Works for her.
So does you said not Dr. Halliburton, Stanley?
Dr. Stanley Halliburton is his full name. Stanley James. It's a long story. He doesn't like the James part, but yeah. Stanley.
How long you worked for Stanley?
About 3 years.
Yeah, you like it here?
I do. Flexible hours. The pay is good. The health benefits are unbelievable.
It smells like it.
Well, like, we went through, COVID just like everybody else, but we didn't have any occurrences here.
Really? Zero. That's awesome.
It is. We also didn't lose any staff. And I think that's one of the things about, not just All Stars, but just the agency itself. The big benefit is that they're in so many different verticals that they didn't have any income drop.
Well, it sounds like a pretty good position to be in.
It's an amazing position, actually.
I'm going to need another form because there's only room for 5 siblings on this one, and I have 11.
Oh, no, that's okay. Just the first 5 is fine.
Okay. I keep going.
That's a big family.
Tell me about it.
Hey, quick question, Dante. Would you have given your sister your phone number?
I haven't had a chance to give anybody my phone number yet.
Just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, not yet, no. I just kind of got the stuff and left. But there's like a package. Like all the packaging is still in the kitchen.
So your phone vibrates. You're not prepared for that either?
Whoa! Like I kind of gyrate out of the seat and pull it out of my pocket.
You see a message that says, "Did you get a new phone and not tell me? What the fuck is all this packaging?" And you get like pictures, and you don't know who it is.
Yeah, right. I stand up because it'd be really rude to just do this right here, and I'll walk, I guess, to the further end of the waiting room, and I'll call the number. Are they sending pictures of my kitchen?
Yeah, they're pictures.
Okay.
You hear your sister Stella's voice get on the phone. Where did this stuff come from?
Oh, the agency. They sent me a way to get a hold of me.
This is like $1,000 worth of gear they just sent you?
Well, the Amazon guy brought it, but yeah.
Okay. Well, listen,
You freaked me out. I was like, well, who's in my house?
no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. So Marcos was having some trouble getting a hold of a van. And so I asked Jaime to see if he could locate us one. He works at a shop. He probably knows some people.
Look, fine.
We need one, right? We need one. You said we need one.
Yes, we need one. Yes, we need one. Sis doesn't like that guy, and I don't know enough about him to make a call one way or the other, but look, if someone gets pulled over in that thing and it comes back stolen, I'm coming for him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, fine.
You don't have to tell her that.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm at some lab getting they gave me a physical.
Oh wow, they're gonna like drug test you?
Well, sure, probably. They got to make sure I'm not on like any. I mean, maybe they want to know if I'm on PEDs. Maybe they want to know if there's illnesses in my family that no one's talked about yet. Can I get back to this? Did you need something?
No, that's fine. I just saw a bunch of this stuff, and to be perfectly honest, I thought Marcos might have stolen.
No, you know what? Good call. You did the right thing. It didn't occur to me. Sorry about the mess.
She hangs up. Everything okay? Your kid's voice.
Yeah, it's great. It's just my sister checking in. You got family? I sit back down.
Not here. All my family's in Bakersfield.
Where's that?
California.
Oh, sure. Okay. Huh. Like on the coast?
No. Bakersfield not on the coast, sadly.
Geography's not my chosen field.
So, yeah, I mean, once you're all done with the form, just let me know and we'll get you back to see Stanley.
Oh, I was just going to keep talking to you. I hand it back to her.
She takes it. She looks it over thoroughly, but also briefly. And then she presses a button on something on her desk. And she says, Stanley, Dante's ready for his workup. You hear a reasonably calm male voice say, I'll be right there. She turns back to you. Should just be a minute or so.
He'll be right here.
About a minute or so passes, and a 40-year-old male white man walks out from the back office here. He's wearing a lab coat. He wears a white button-up shirt, black tie. He's sort of central casting for doctor.
Sure.
He could probably walk on to Grey's Anatomy at this point.
Nice.
He stretches out his arm when he walks over towards you and says, Dante, I'm Stanley.
Yeah, I shake his hand. My doctor always said it's like the biggest risk and the biggest show of trust to shake a doctor's hand when you just meet him. Who knows where they've been, right?
Well, I know where I've been, and you've got nothing to worry about.
It's a nice, very clean place you have here.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to come back?
Sure. I'm checking out his jacket. Like, is his jacket as clean as this place is?
Yes.
This place is awesome.
He walks you back through a hallway, which gives sort of a preamble to the next space you enter, which is a highly advanced sports medicine space. So all sorts of potential screens for readouts and nutritionals and macronutrients and micronutrients and all sorts of stuff. And then you see pictures on the wall of athletes that they've worked with. And I'm talking like NBAs, NFL All-Stars, and tennis stars. All these people are on their wall. There's probably about 10 or 15, and I would say within each sport they probably have 2 top 20 athletes, big names, people you'd know. Like you see a picture of Stanley and one of these athletes like shaking hands, and the big thumbs up, which is, of course, the thing that people do.
This is from like 6 years ago. How long you been a doctor?
Oh, me? I've been a doctor for 14 years.
I mean, you're a good-looking guy. You're young. You're young here. Young. You're a baby in this picture.
I don't know about a baby, but I was definitely young. I was fast-tracked through the agency to get through med school because I was exceptional.
Man, it's a freaking running trend here. All right. Almost called you doctor.
Well, I am legally a doctor.
That's good to know. What should I call you?
You can just call me Stanley. Or Stan is fine.
All right, Stanley. Where do we start?
Over there. He points to a what looks like just a run-of-the-mill observation room that you would find at any other clinic.
Okay.
He walks over, opens the door. It's got frosted glass and that sort of thing.
I will gesture to my bag.
Oh, you want to bring it? Bring it. It's fine.
Well, where's
You can hang it up right over there if you want.
One thing as well, and I don't know, we didn't really get to talk about it, but I have a friend with me at all times for the most part. I unzip my bag and I withdraw Sophia.
Oh, wow.
She's a mink. She's clean.
Okay, I'm sure.
Sure. She's friendly. But she goes where I go, so.
Okay. Yeah, it should be fine.
Cool. I just didn't know if there was anything. Anything.
The plan is to draw some blood.
All right, cool. You're fine. You can go back to sleep. I just stuff her back in my bag.
You suffer and zip the bag shut. You enter what looks like a regular clinic room with a bed, although it's not like the cheesy sort of stuff you would find at a clinic. This looks like fairly professional. All the fittings in here are also pretty top notch.
Okay.
It's a real sense of calming when you enter this room. All right, if you just take a seat and
sit down.
Okay, let's have the left arm.
I will give him my left arm.
You give him your left arm. He begins the process of withdrawing blood from you. And in your perceptions, things begin to sort of slow down. You physiologically begin to heartbeat in your own brain. And you can feel that bodily pulse every time your heart pumps.
So that's like, because I've obviously had this done like a million times, but this time it's different.
It certainly is.
I grab the chair like with my other hand and kind of just knuckle it.
Okay. I'm going to make a roll here. Not for the blood drawing. As far as the medical experience goes in here, it is one of the most efficient and soothing processes that you have been through.
Yeah, how's Stan's bedside manner?
It's good. He's calm. He's collected. He's not comical. He's a little funny, but not too funny. And he goes very in depth with you, explaining what he's going to do before he does it. And it seems to really put you at ease. Really put you at ease.
I will do my best to cooperate.
You certainly do. And that's when you lose consciousness.
Good night.
Oliver, your second meeting is something honestly out of like a fantasy novel. You meet a man who calls himself Fabian. And Fabian is clearly a Spaniard of some sort. And what he wants to know, first and foremost, is that if you have the fire and the passion within to be what House Flambeau could make you into. Your meeting with him is not in some stuffy library. It seems to be some sort of underground space. There's a cavern here. There's a chasm within it. And Fabian begins to show you the process by which House Flambeau gets its name. And he shows you in a book a formula. The formula for channeling raw force energy. And he's got like sulfur in bags, and he's using it to sprinkle out onto the chasm. And as he does, these massive gouts of fire begin to burble up from beneath the chasm. And he's intoning these long and somewhat unintelligible words. And when he's done with his peacocking, he turns back to you and he says, "What we need to know is if you can draw the fire from within. Show me." He sort of extends his hand out.
Okay, sure. How hard could it be, right? So I'm going to try to draw out the fire from within.
Okay. So has Oliver focused on, or does he have in your mind something he would use to channel Force's magic?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Having not had to do it before.
Certainly. So I guess then tell us how you think Oliver would try to do that.
He's going to try to channel from within. He's going to try to push the fire from, his inner self. This is not going to go well.
I think it's a fantastic way to do it. So what I'll ask you to do is two things. I will ask you to spend a point of willpower.
Okay.
Because you're going to attempt magic essentially by having it happen at random. And we'll let you roll Arate. And so that's, let me see if memory serves correctly. It's highest fear +3 because the magic is technically coincidental in here. It's not vulgar. So your forces is what, 2?
2, yes.
Okay, so it's difficulty 5. Roll 2 Arate.
1.
Okay, awesome. So you do the thing that you have done probably from an early age, which is you've watched too many movies and you've seen people use, telekinetic force like Luke Skywalker or magnetic forces like Magneto in the X-Men movies, and you cast your hand out and you flex all of your arm muscles first, and you bear down with your fingers until your hand starts to shake, and you just will it to happen, and your hand starts on fire.
Put it out.
That's the trouble. It doesn't want to go out. And so you're sort of waving your hand around. And Fabian, to his credit, is loving it. And so he begins sort of like sprinkling you with sulfur. And the ground starts on fire. And now everything around you is on fire.
Jesus, tap dancing Christ, what are you doing?
And he calls out to you, Oliver, project it out. Push it out from your body.
I'm trying.
So you do so. You eventually, after a few twirls and a few waves, for a moment, you push the fire off your hand. And you feel the force flow from inside of you out your hand. And there is this single, just momentary jet where you feel like a flamethrower. And then it's gone.
Oh. Okay, I'll admit, that was pretty cool.
The mages that make up House Flambeau do this regularly. It is part of war magic. It is a process that is honed and perfected. To channel this power is dangerous. But it is that danger in which we find our use. I am certain that Crescent has said that the war is over. He is wrong. It is not over until we return to Doistep and take it back.
Wasn't that place in the Umbra where a bunch of you guys died?
I still draw breath. There is a higher purpose to Doistep. It cannot be ruled by these technocrats. We blew their warships from the sky. We detonated bombs mankind has never seen. We will do so again. What we need are awakened magi who can channel forces. You are such a person. It would take you far from this place of Las Vegas. Tutelage, training, time. But then even you could craft the bombs. He cups his hands and you see like a ball of fire grow from within his hands. You can sort of hear him murmuring in the background behind the flames. He does so just for a moment, and you can see that there's this skull like inside this ball of fire, and it's staring back at you through the fire, and it grins. Just a moment, and then he lets his hands part completely. It is a worthy cause, Devereaux. Consider our offer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll totally consider this.
Kayleigh, your discussions with the father are interesting. Compelling in some regard. He hasn't convinced you to suddenly become a nun or anything. But he has shared with you that his walk with faith is a different one now than it was when he first came to the faith. That things have changed.
Yeah, and it's really surprising that, I tell this story of what happened, right? Of being hurt, but not actually hurt anymore, and seeing someone burst into flames and turn into ash, and then they were fine the next day. And either the father has a really good poker face, or he believes me.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? He didn't really flinch when you talked about someone turning to ash. He made jokes, but there wasn't any of the thing that you would expect, which is, are you on drugs? Do you need to see a doctor? That sort of thing.
Yeah. And the most surprising part was, well, you heard a voice, right?
Yes, it's almost as if he knew.
Yeah. And that really has me thrown through a loop, because why would the father know that? Like, why would he believe me in the first place, really? And why would he know that I've heard a voice?
That is a great question. Are you going to pause to ask him those questions, or are you leaving?
No, I'm leaving. I'll thank him for his time, right? Like, thank you, Father. I will probably be seeing more of you than I have for a long time.
Do not tarry. Time is short. There is much we could do together. Things I could teach you. Takes like a big breath and, opens the door for you to leave the office.
Yeah, and I'll walk out. Still, just my brain has to process all of this, because none of that interaction was what I expected it to be.
Yeah, it sort of seems to be par for the course for today. All the interactions you've had have all been a little strange. Are you driving back to the apartment, or are you walking, or?
No, I'm gonna walk over to my sister's house. Everybody lives real close to the church. And everybody lives real close to each other. Something about community compels people to stay close.
Certainly. Okay. So you stop over to your sister's?
And honestly, probably what I'll end up doing is like picking up something for dinner, like an early dinner or a snack or something like Chinese, and I'll just, knock on the door and hold up the bags, and it's like, hi, I haven't been here for a minute kind of attitude.
Okay. Yeah, come on in. What brings you by?
Well, I wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
And I'll like take the bags into the kitchen and set them down.
She looks at you.
How intense is your belief in God?
You picked up Boston Market and you wanted to ask about religion?
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
I don't know. I guess I had a hard time coping, like I don't know. Everything when we were younger was so fucked up. It was kind of hard to believe in God or anything else like that after that stuff.
So, but the thing is that like, right, mom and dad raised us in, deep religion, attending a couple times a week. We went to Sunday school even as teenagers and everything. So essentially we should be as religious as they are, right? But I don't know how much of it you believe in now, more as an adult, because you still attend church every week.
Well, one of us has to. You're hit and miss. You're busy running down delinquent child support payments and people who deal drugs. And the family needs one of us, to be a baseline to work from. Church is fine. It's fine. I don't go there every Sunday to feel inspired. It kind of felt like that last week, but I don't know. I thought maybe the father had just imbibed a little bit too much communion wine before giving the sermon.
I know that I haven't been present at church very much, but, I'm still at mom and dad's most weeks for lunch on Sunday after church is over.
Right. But church means something more to them than it does you. And so you choosing not to show up puts all of the onus on me. Every week you're not there, they're asking me, Where's Kayleigh? Did you text her? It matters to them if you don't show up. And yeah, I mean, that's all the traditional guilt train that gets run, but I don't know. I still go because it means something to them.
Well, and of course our older brothers go because they're very faithful, which is why I didn't go to them.
So do you believe in God or what?
I don't know. The sermon was different from... The sermon on Sunday was very different from anything that we had heard from the Father in way too long.
Well, let's get some chicken. I want it getting cold. The two of you dive into a Boston Market rotisserie chicken with associated sides. There's talk about the family. There's some additional talk about church, but nothing super revealing from Amelia's point of view. But that said, you feel a little bit better about life in general after talking to her?
Well, and not only that, but also that, essentially the equivalent of me losing my faith after time, and especially after I started the career that I have pursued, she might just not have ever been as invested as the rest of the family was. She did come to us later than, like, when I was adopted younger than she was. But it didn't mean she still didn't fit into the family, but maybe she was just old enough that church and the beliefs and everything didn't really matter to her outside of it being a way to help support the family. And that, in a lot of ways, helps that I'm not the only member of the family who either has lost faith or hasn't been feeling particularly faithful.
It does seem like it's going around, much like the episodes of this chronicle. So we'll call our episode to a close tonight. And I'm certain the next episode we'll figure out whatever the heck happened to Dante. And clearly Oliver will have his third interview. And Kayleigh will probably still be eating chicken. But that's okay, because this chronicle is about the experience of Ascension in every single herb and spice. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the Ascension of Babylon, as played on the Old Ways podcast. We greatly appreciate your listening ears. Thank you, and good night.